Hello and welcome to Call to the News, the What You Played news show. My name's Matthew and here is all the board, card and tabletop news that you could possibly need unless it isn't. This week's first news story comes to us fresh from outer space, and that's Star Scrappers Orbital. The Kickstarter tagline for Star Scrappers Orbital is "Become a Space Station Commander. Compete against rival corporations in a card game for 1 to 5 players." And here's the bit that got my board gamer senses tingling like Spider-Man watching an ASMR video. By the designer of Terraforming Mars. And really, that last part is the most exciting bit to me, because Terraforming Mars is a great game. It's one of the most highly ranked and regarded games of all time. And this is the same designer, back with another card-driven, engine-building game, back in outer space, and I'll most likely be backing this on the current Kickstarter. Another thing that quite excites me about Orbital is that it's really leaning pretty hard into 2020's social anomalies, with 2 different solo modes, one peaceful and one competitive. So you'll be building up your station with cards, unlocking new worker placement spots, and even upgrading core modules for more unique powers. It looks like fun to me, and if you agree, then the Kickstarter still has a couple more orbits itself for you to go and check it out. There's been a big announcement from former Blizzard employees. Well, I say employees. Chris Metzen was one of the primary developers of Warcraft, Diablo and StarCraft, amongst others, and Mike Gilmartin was Vice President of Quality Assurance at Blizzard. But together they are uniting like some type of... I don't know enough about Warcraft to make a clever pun there, but I would like to. Anyway, they're teaming up again to pursue a non-digital passion and have set up Warchief Gaming. According to Metzen, tabletop gaming helped him overcome burnout and inspired him to a point that he needed to create some tabletop games of his own. But he also said that it's a worry whenever you turn your hobby into a new career. Yes, it's terrifying. Though while we know that Warchief Gaming is a gaming company, we don't quite know what type of gaming company they're going to be. Are they going to release RPGs? Big dungeon crawlers? Maybe on the off chance they're going to release a nice dusty Euro. I'll be into that. But when I do know, I'll be sure to tell you all here. Hey.
Hey.
Paula, you called me.
What you doing?
Oh, I was just, working out. I'm filming the new show. Are you free to still do that Critical Role segment?
What? There's Critical Role news. Well, I'm sure I had just no idea.
Now over to Paula with some more news.
Critical Role, the hugely successful actual play Dungeons & Dragons show, have announced that they're getting into the board game with their new venture and publishing company, Darrington Press. Which makes a lot of sense because there's actually a character in campaign 1, Taryon Darrington, who's always trying to write his memoirs and stuff. It's actually really interesting because it's Sam Riegel's character and he starts out playing this character Scanlan, but then after rolling an athletics check and other D&D based puns, they're hitting the ground running with the launch of a new publishing company coming in tandem with the announcement of 4 games set to be released in the next 12 months. There's Uk'otoa, which is a tactical semi-co-op where you're a sailor trying to be the last one eaten by a Leviathan. Critical Role Adventures, which is a legacy-style game. Guardians of Matrimonia, the co-op card game about fighting hordes of monsters. And Syndicult, which is a tabletop role-playing game set in a world of magical mobsters. It does sound like something Matthew would make up. So next year, there's a lot to expect from the Darrington Press.
Thank you, but did you know, Paula, that Paper Tales now has a digital implementation on Android and iOS? Oh. Thank you. Forgot I hung up. When it does, Paper Tales is a card drafting game of kingdom building, war and victory points. It's a great card game that I really do enjoy quite a lot. It's full of upgrading and special powers, and it's slightly whimsical. I'm always excited and pretty happy about a good, quick board game app, and this one fits that bill. So check that out. The beta is available on Android and iOS right now. Carpe Diem is a game that, while I love it, I think it's really good fun. I think it's a great addition to help, I want to say, trick, but I'll say ease gamers into the dry Euro side of life, which is one of my favourite sides of life. Hello, I'm Matthew, a dry Euro. But it did have what we will call some slight graphical user issues. I like the art, but I like old dusty Euro games, and Carpe Diem is new, it's fun and light, and perhaps deserved a slightly more appealing look. So I'm happy that it's getting a third edition. That is in, yes, a much more subjectively attractive package. It's also allegedly dealing with a few of the graphical issues the original had and the second edition didn't fully manage to deal with. So while I'm happy with my first edition of the game, it's really good to see that Alea are giving this one more shots to hopefully let such a good game get on more people's tables. Asmodee, who legally now own me after a contract negotiation gone awry, released a new line of print and play games in their Connect and Play initiative. Because the world is gestures at world, you can find versions of Dixit, Just One, Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, Time's Up, and Dobble, or as the Americans call it, something else. To which I say, what's wrong with Dobble? It's a perfectly fine word, sounds like a Harry Potter character, or maybe a great name for an old cat, or a Prime Minister, or an old cat who is Prime Minister. Dobble, it's a fine and noble name, all available to print and play while things are weird. There are two upcoming online convention type things happening. First, BGG at Home, which is next weekend, the 18th until the 22nd, where over the 5 days and nights, Board Game Geek will be using the Tabletop event system to organise and facilitate as many people playing games together digitally as possible. There's a free Tabletopia coupon to be had once you've bought your $10 ticket, though it's free if you already had a ticket for BGG Con, which this is replacing. There will be loads of events to tune into, but the focus is to get as many people gaming as possible. Then there's something completely different happening, which is the Tokyo Game Market, which is this weekend on the 14th and the 15th. This is more of a trade show highlighting primarily games coming to the Japanese market, but oftentimes those games end up getting English language releases, and we think we've discovered some rare and unique game that turns out gamers in Japan have already been playing for literally years. The convention will be happening on both the Tokyo Game Market website, and there's a bunch of streaming coming from the show to watch on gamemarket.live. And as Tokyo Game Market is single-handedly the convention that I want to go to more than any other, I'm excited to get the chance to take part, albeit digitally. The final news that I have for you is that Satish Pillalamarri, the co-founder of North Star Games, recently lost his battle to cancer. And what makes this even more tragic is that this came just days after the birth of his son. Satish was, by all accounts, just a real wonderful person, and while I didn't have the pleasure to know him personally, I certainly have benefited personally from his impact on the board game industry, indirectly by the joy and love of the hobby that was reflected in the games that he chose to release through North Star, like Happy Salmon, Say Anything, and the award-winning Wits and Wagers. The last game that Satish brought to the market was The Dude, and North Star have donated their final 1,000 copies to a scholarship fund for Satish's son that the entire cost of the game will be donated to for when he turns 18 years old. It even comes with a box sticker, so you know that your copy helped that cause. So head on over to North Star's website if you want to contribute by following the links below. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Tell someone you love them, and we'll see you next time.